I wasn't the kind of woman who dreamed of marriage. Not because I didn't believe in love. I did. I believed in it so much, I held it to impossible standards. I thought if it wasn't burning, aching, consuming, it wasn't real. And then I met Graham. He wasn't like the men I used to fall for. He didn't sweep into my life like a hurricane. He showed up gently, gradually, like rain that turns into a flood before you realize it's too late to escape. He worked in the same building, finance, I think. Always in a suit, always with a quiet nod and the kind of smile that makes you feel seen. We started with coffee, then lunch. Then those long, late texts that you tell yourself are innocent. I was 36, divorced. A little more guarded than I used to be, but still foolish in the ways that mattered. He said he'd been married too, said it ended badly, said he hadn't let himself feel anything in years. Until me. And I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. With Graham, everything felt measured, calming. I'd spent years with men who were either too intense or too unavailable. Graham was steady, attentive. He noticed things. When I was tired, when I switched shampoos, when my voice got tight on the phone with my mother. We never called each other boyfriend and girlfriend. It felt juvenile, but we were something real, something I hadn't felt since I was 28. He started staying over 3-4 nights a week. He brought wine, cooked dinner. He loved my dog. Fixed the cabinet hinge I kept ignoring. Kissed my shoulders in the morning. He made it so easy to believe that this was the second chance I didn't know I'd get. He never rushed me, never pushed. He gave space where others demanded. And I mistook that for respect, instead of emotional distance. Looking back, I see it clearly now. The pauses, when his phone lit up, the way he always turned it face down, the sudden stiffness in his voice when he mentioned his ex-wife, Claire. He told me early on that they didn't speak, that it had ended with silence and bitterness. That he had no interest in revisiting it. I believed him, because who talks about an ex with warmth when they're trying to move on? But there were little cracks, a birthday he forgot, mine, a weekend trip he bailed on last minute. He said it was work. But he came back with a slight sunburn, a different scent in his hair. He brought me flowers. Said sorry. I let it go. Because when you want to believe someone loves you, you excuse things you shouldn't. I told myself I was overthinking, that I'd been hurt before and that trauma was clouding my trust. I was too old to play detective, too tired to demand proof. But the truth doesn't need your permission to arrive, and it was coming for me, whether I was ready or not. It was a Thursday afternoon. I was working from home, answering emails with a mug of half-cold tea when his iPad buzzed on the kitchen counter. Graham rarely left things lying around. He was meticulous that way. But that day he'd gone out in a hurry, said he was meeting a friend for a late lunch. I wasn't snooping, not at first. The notification just flashed. A hotel reservation, confirmed, for Saturday night. I thought maybe he was surprising me, maybe he was making up for the weekend he'd canceled. My heart actually fluttered until I opened the email. The reservation wasn't for my name. It wasn't even near our city. And it wasn't made recently. It had been booked over a month ago. I stared at the screen for so long I forgot to blink. I felt like the floor beneath me wasn't solid anymore, like the air had thickened, and I was breathing through wool. I clicked on the contact listed in the confirmation. Claire R., his ex-wife. He didn't just still talk to her, he was planning weekends with her, while kissing me goodnight, while washing dishes in my sink, while calling me his calm place. I didn't cry right away. I just sat there, frozen, phone in hand, brain trying to rewrite what I'd seen into something less devastating. But there's no gentle version of betrayal. When he came back that evening, I didn't say anything. I watched him walk in, set down his keys, loosen his tie. He smiled like everything was normal. And maybe, to him, it was. I waited until after dinner. I asked, "How's Claire?" His hand paused on the wine glass. Just a second. A twitch. He recovered quickly. "I haven't spoken to her." I nodded. Then I slid the iPad across the table. "Then maybe you can explain this." He didn't even pretend. No stammering, no shocked expression, just a long exhale. "It's not what you think." But it was. It was exactly what I thought. Everything after that blurred. He said things, excuses, words like closure, confusion, timing. I heard none of it, because in that moment, the truth settled in my bones. I was never the destination. I was the safe detour while he found his way back to her. He didn't move out that night. He didn't even pack a bag. He slept on the couch, said he needed space to figure things out. And somehow I let that happen. I let him stay. Not because I forgave him, but because I didn't know how to start the unraveling. I made coffee in the mornings like nothing had happened. I folded laundry. I answered messages from friends with half smiles and hollow words. I lived in the quiet space between confrontation and collapse. He wasn't sorry. Not really. He said the right things, but they didn't come from anywhere real. They felt memorized, rehearsed. "I didn't mean to hurt you. It just happened. You were good for me." That last one stung more than all the rest, because what does that even mean? Good for him, like a protein shake, like a vitamin, like a phase. He was already drifting, already half gone, and the more I tried to hold on, the more pathetic I felt. I wasn't begging him to stay, not in words, but in all the ways women are taught to stay quiet and pleasant, hoping that's enough. One night I stood at the door with his keys in my hand. He'd just come back from a drive, hair slightly wet, cologne he didn't wear for me. I said, "I think we're done." He nodded. No fight, no resistance, just relief, disguised as agreement. He packed that night. He left his toothbrush, one sock, an old hoodie I used to wear when I couldn't sleep. And when the door clicked shut behind him, I realized something. You don't always get closure. Sometimes you just get empty rooms. And the echo of someone who was never fully yours to begin with. The silence after he left wasn't peaceful. It was loud. Every creak in the walls, every empty drawer, every moment of not hearing keys in the door, it all screamed. But in that noise, I started to breathe again. The first morning alone, I made coffee and didn't pour an extra cup. I played music he didn't like. I let the dog on the bed. I wore the hoodie he left, not out of nostalgia, but because it was mine now. I claimed it. Just like I was slowly reclaiming myself. I cried in waves, grocery store aisles, in the car, on the floor of the shower. Not because I missed him, but because I missed the version of myself who still believed she was chosen. Anger didn't come fast. It crept in. Not fire, more like erosion. Slowly stripping away the false comfort, the false intimacy, the false future I had built in my mind. And then one day I woke up and realized I wasn't sad anymore. I was tired of carrying it all, tired of waiting to be enough, tired of shrinking to fit someone else's unfinished story. So I stopped. I painted the living room, I changed my sheets, I deleted our shared playlists. I blocked his number, not out of hate, but out of necessity. I went to dinner alone, took the trip I'd once waited to take with him, wore red lipstick in the middle of the day. I let myself become inconvenient, loud, director, present, because I realized something no one had ever taught me clearly enough. I am not a pause. I am not the gentle middle between the chapters he wrote before and after me. I am not the woman you heal with. I am the woman you don't get to keep. It's been almost a year now. Funny how fast and slow time moves when you're healing. Some days feel like I'm sprinting through it, busy and light. Others, it drags. But even on the heavy days, there's a steadiness to it now, like walking barefoot on cool ground. Real, grounded. I still think about him sometimes. Not out of longing, just as a chapter I finally closed. There's no hatred, no bitterness, just a kind of quiet acknowledgement that he happened, that we happened, that it ended, and that it taught me more than I ever wanted to know. I learned that love isn't about how much you give. It's about how much of yourself you're allowed to keep while giving. I used to think love was sacrifice, but now I think it's alignment. I used to think being chosen was the goal, but now I know. Choosing myself was the real prize. I go to bed without waiting for a text. I wake up without wondering what version of someone will show up. I have my peace. It's quiet. It's simple. It's mine. And maybe that's the best kind of ending. Not with fire, not with rage, but with the soft, powerful truth that I don't need to be anyone's home, if I've already built one inside myself. Because he never really left her. But I never lost me, and I never will again.